For the first time since the US bombed Iran's nuclear facilities last year, the two sides are back at the negotiating table with the hope of de-escalating military tension. The high-stakes talks have been described as a good start. Senior officials, including US envoy Steve Witkoff and Iran's foreign minister, met in Oman, the Gulf state acting as mediator. Donald Trump says another round of talks will take place as early as next week. And a warning, this story contains distressing content.
Welcomed to Muscat with a handshake. Oman's foreign minister meeting US envoy Steve Witkoff, flanked by Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner. The agenda was disputed in the lead-up to the talks. Iran wanted to focus solely on its nuclear program, while the US pushed to have negotiations expanded to cover Iran's ballistic missiles and disarmament for its regional proxies like Hezbollah.
The Iranian regime still seems so intent on defying the United States, and they fear that if they give in to pressure, it's going to project weakness and invite even more pressure. Up until now, Iran has shown no flexibility on moderating its ballistic missile program or its regional proxies.
A breakthrough wasn't expected, but Iran's foreign minister said the indirect talks were a good start, despite what he described as a deep distrust between the two countries, made worse after US airstrikes on Iranian nuclear facilities last June.
ولی ادامه اون منوط به این هست که ما در به اصطلاح پایتخت‌ها مشورت‌هایی رو انجام بدیم و در مورد چگونگی ادامه.
Deal can be reached. Well, you have to get in position. We have plenty of time. If you remember Venezuela, we waited around for a while, and we're in no rush. We have, very good talks going with Iran.
President Trump ramping up pressure, slapping sanctions on 15 companies and 14 so-called shadow fleet vessels linked to Iran's illicit oil trade, hours after the talks. The discussions also amid heightened regional tensions, with a US military build-up in the Middle East, underscored by the presence of one of America's senior military commanders at the talks. US citizens also told to leave Iran before the talks began. President Trump initially threatened Iran with military action over its bloody crackdown on protesters last month. New pictures continue to emerge, including of this 16-year-old shot in the head. They killed him, this relative cries, his grief interrupted by hospital staff trying to stop him from filming. One doctor speaking out as part of an underground network of medics treating protesters inside Iran.
Government hospitals were controlled by security forces and monitored by cameras. If injured people went there and were identified as protesters, staff on duty had to report them and they would be arrested.
The doctor telling CNN Iran's Revolutionary Guards would also storm hospitals, seeking out and killing injured protesters.
I've locked the door with 5 different locks. I expect that at any moment, as I give this interview, they could break in and arrest me. I've chosen to put my own safety second and make sharing information about the injured and the war crimes that have occurred my first priority.
The Iranian regime has acknowledged that around 3,000 protesters died. Rights groups put the death toll far higher. Phoebe Dees, SBS World News.